Ever catch yourself like kind of daydreaming about what it would be like, to have $1 million?
Yeah.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into this YouTube video
Okay.
by Kevin Trudeau called How to Make Your First Million.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some pretty unconventional ideas, I think, about wealth creation
Yeah.
that I think you'll find interesting. It's not about, those like get rich quick schemes,
Right.
but more about like cultivating this millionaire mindset.
Yeah. One of the first things that Trudeau does is really challenge how people think about being a millionaire.
Oh, okay.
He argues that it's not about the fancy cars or the lifestyle.
Right.
But instead, he really wants to focus on the concept of net worth.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
He really wants us to understand the difference between simply having a lot of money, like flowing in,
Yeah.
and actually building wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Like he asked this like thought-provoking question.
Okay.
If you sold everything you own and paid off all your debts, would you have $1 million left over?
Wow, that question really gets to the heart of what it means to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
It forces you to consider your assets and what you own, and your liabilities and what you owe.
Right.
A true millionaire has a positive net worth that exceeds $1 million,
Yeah.
not just a high income.
Yeah. That's a good reality check, I think, for anyone who thinks a high salary, automatically puts them in that millionaire category.
Exactly.
So how does Trudeau suggest we go about building that kind of wealth?
Well, he reveals what he calls the secret that millionaires know.
Okay.
And it's surprisingly simple. Work.
Oh, work. Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely got a sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
But he makes a valid point.
Okay.
Millionaires, especially when they're building their wealth, they often display an incredible work ethic.
Okay.
They're so driven and focused
Yeah.
and willing to put in the time and effort required to achieve their goals.
Yeah, he tells this story about a successful entrepreneur
Yeah.
who had achieved, like a pretty comfortable lifestyle,
Yeah.
but realized he'd become complacent.
Okay.
So to reignite his drive, he decided to become mentally broke.
Oh.
He put away his golf clubs, locked up his boat, and basically removed himself from like the distractions of his wealth for a year so he could fully focus on this new venture.
That's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
But it does raise an interesting question. What are you willing to sacrifice to reach your financial goals?
Right.
Achieving significant success often requires dedication, focus,
Yeah.
and sometimes even giving up certain comforts or distractions.
Yeah. It seems like mindset plays a big role in Trudeau's philosophy.
It does.
He talks about 3 specific mindsets that he believes separate the wealthy from everyone else.
Yeah, the first mindset is that money is a renewable resource.
Okay.
Millionaires don't see wealth as something finite or limited.
Yeah.
They believe that it can be created,
Okay.
generated, and replenished. And that ties into the second mindset, which is a belief in abundant opportunities.
Okay.
Millionaires see potential everywhere. They don't get discouraged by setbacks or missed chances.
Yeah.
They know that there's always another opportunity around the corner.
Yeah. And the third mindset that really stood out to me
Yeah.
was this concept of self-belief as a creative force.
No.
Millionaires have this unshakable belief in their ability to create wealth. They often tap into this source of inner strength, maybe like a spiritual belief or like a deep sense of purpose
Yeah.
that fuels their actions
Yeah.
and helps them manifest their desires.
He uses a great example to illustrate this point.
Okay.
Walt Disney,
Yeah.
losing the rights to his first successful character, Oswald the Rabbit,
Oh, yeah.
is a huge setback.
Right.
But instead of giving up, Disney believed in his creative power and went on to create an even more iconic character.
Mickey Mouse.
That's a great example of how a strong belief in oneself can
Yeah.
be this powerful driving force.
Yeah. It's not just about wishful thinking.
Yeah.
It's about believing in your ability to create and achieve even in the face of challenges.
Absolutely. And he also shares a story
Okay.
about an inmate
Okay.
who came up with this brilliant idea for a cup phone.
Uh-huh.
You know those phone holders that fit in your car's cup holder?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got one of those.
Even though the inmate couldn't personally profit from his idea
Right.
while incarcerated,
Right.
someone else took that idea
Yeah.
and turned it into a successful product.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It shows that ideas themselves are abundant,
Yeah.
and the key is to have the belief and the action to bring them into reality.
So we've talked about the work ethic and the mindset of millionaires.
Right.
But what about like the actual strategies for creating wealth?
Right.
Trudeau has this rather surprising answer
Oh.
for what he believes is the #1 thing holding people back from financial success.
Okay.
He says it's your mouth.
Your mouth. That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
He's talking about the power of words.
Okay.
He believes that negative self-talk just reinforces limitations, while positive affirmations can actually help manifest your desires into reality.
He even gets into the science behind this, explaining how spoken words
Right.
create vibrations that affect our brains
Yeah.
more powerfully than just thinking those thoughts silently.
It's a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
He's suggesting that our words have a real tangible impact on our reality.
So it's worth asking yourself,
Yeah.
are you using your words to create abundance or to reinforce limitations?
Yeah, are you speaking positivity into your life, or are you constantly putting yourself down?
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder to be mindful of the language we use,
It is.
both internally and externally.
Absolutely.
Trudeau then shifts gears to a more practical tip for building wealth.
Okay.
Spend your money on things that go up in value.
He calls these appreciating assets. Right.
Appreciating assets, right?
Things like investments, real estate, or even precious metals like gold.
Okay.
These are assets that have the potential to increase in value over time, as opposed to depreciating assets like cars or electronics that lose value the moment you buy them.
He's highlighting the importance of shifting from like a consumer mindset to an investor mindset.
It's huge, yeah.
Instead of spending your hard-earned money on things that will quickly lose their value,
Right.
invested in assets that have the potential to grow your wealth over time.
It's a classic wealth building strategy, but one that many people overlook.
Oh,
Instead of thinking about how to spend your money,
Yeah.
think about how to make your money work for you.
This is just the beginning of our deep dive into Kevin Trudeau's How to Make Your First Million.
Yeah.
We've explored the importance of net worth,
Yeah.
the millionaire work ethic, the power of mindset,
Right.
and the impact of our words.
Powerful stuff.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Kevin Trudeau's How to Make Your First Million. And I'm curious to hear more about how we can actually put these principles into practice.
Well, Trudeau spends a lot of time emphasizing the power of words,
Right.
and he makes some interesting observations about how professional athletes actually use self-talk to their advantage.
You mean like those pep talks
Exactly.
they give themselves before like a big game?
Exactly. Trudeau points out that athletes are constantly reinforcing their goals and intentions through their words,
Okay.
almost instinctively. And it's not just about motivation.
Right.
He actually delves into the science behind it.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm all ears.
So he explains how when we speak, our vocal cords create vibrations that travel not only through the air to our ears, but also directly through the bones in our head and throat.
So our entire brain is like literally vibrating with the energy of our words.
Precisely. And that's why spoken words have a much stronger impact on our subconscious mind than just thinking those thoughts silently.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So how does this tie back to wealth creation?
Well, Trudeau suggests that wealthy individuals make a conscious effort to speak positively to themselves,
Okay.
reinforcing their beliefs and goals through their words.
Right.
They're constantly affirming their ability to create wealth and attract abundance.
It's like they're programming their minds for success by speaking it into existence.
Exactly. And he contrasts this with the tendency of those struggling financially to engage in negative self-talk,
Right.
constantly putting themselves down with phrases like, "I'm so broke," or "I'll never be able to afford that."
Right.
These negative statements, spoken aloud, can become self-fulfilling prophecies,
Yeah.
reinforcing their beliefs about lack and limitation.
It's almost like we're cursing ourselves with our own words.
In a way, yes. And he even brings up this interesting concept related to this.
Okay.
The classic magician's phrase.
Yeah.
Abracadabra.
Right. Abracadabra.
He traces its origins back to an ancient Aramaic phrase that means, "I create as I speak."
So even magicians are tapping into this power of words
Yeah.
to manifest their intentions.
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether consciously or not, magicians are using their words to shape reality,
Right.
to make the impossible seem possible.
Yeah, he also uses some pretty striking examples to illustrate the potential power of words.
Yes.
Like the biblical story of Jesus cursing a fig tree.
Right. Whether you interpret that story literally or metaphorically,
Right.
the message is clear.
Yeah.
Our words have weight, and we must choose them carefully.
Right.
They have the power to create or destroy,
Yeah.
to bless or to curse.
It's a sobering thought, but also an empowering one. We can curse a fig tree with our words.
Right.
Imagine what we can create with positive, affirming language.
Absolutely. And this brings us back to one of Trudeau's key strategies for building wealth,
Okay.
which is to spend your money on things that go up in value.
He calls those appreciating assets.
Right. Exactly. These are assets that have the potential to increase in value over time, such as stocks, real estate, or even collectibles like art or rare books.
Okay.
He contrasts this with depreciating assets,
Right.
like cars, electronics, or even that fancy new sofa you've had your eye on.
Yeah, those are things that lose value as soon as you buy them.
Right. And he stresses the importance of shifting your mindset from consumerism to investing.
Right.
Instead of spending your money on things that will quickly lose their value,
Right.
invest it in assets that have the potential to grow your wealth over time.
It's a classic wealth building strategy.
Yeah.
But it's surprising how many people struggle with this concept.
He makes another interesting point about wealth creation in the modern world.
Okay.
He claims that making money is easier than ever before,
Okay.
thanks to the internet, AI,
Right.
and platforms like Amazon that allow anyone to start a business or sell products globally.
So why aren't more people becoming millionaires if it's so easy?
Trudeau's answer is simple. Initiative.
Initiative.
Yeah.
He argues that wealthy people consistently show initiative,
Okay.
while those struggling financially often don't.
Right.
They're willing to take risks to step outside their comfort zones,
Right.
to seize opportunities when they arise.
That's a good point. It's not enough to just have a good idea or even the right mindset.
Right.
You have to be willing to take action and put in the work.
He even cites some research suggesting that the number of people showing initiative
Okay.
is lower today than in the past,
Oh, wow.
possibly due to factors like environmental toxins,
Okay.
changes in diet,
Uh-huh.
or even the distractions of the digital age.
It's a thought-provoking idea. Are we becoming too comfortable, too reliant on instant gratification
Right.
to really put in the effort required to achieve our goals?
It's certainly something to consider.
Yeah.
We have access to more information and opportunities than ever before.
Right.
Yet we often find ourselves paralyzed by indecision
Yeah.
or overwhelmed by the sheer volume of choices.
Yeah.
So what's the antidote to this inertia? How do we cultivate that millionaire level of initiative?
Trudeau believes it starts with a shift in mindset.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we are all capable of achieving great things if we're willing to step outside our comfort zones and take action.
It's about moving from a passive state of consumption to an active state of creation.
Exactly. And I think there's another fascinating piece to his message that ties into this.
Okay.
He believes that to truly unlock our potential for greatness, including financial success,
Okay.
we need to tap into a source of power greater than ourselves.
Now that's intriguing. You mean like a spiritual connection or a belief in a higher power?
Well, that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Trudeau has some interesting insights about how spirituality can play a role in wealth creation.
Right. I'm really curious to hear more about this connection between spirituality and wealth creation.
Yeah.
It's not something you hear discussed very often, in the context of personal finance.
You're right, it is a bit unconventional.
Yeah.
But Trudeau seems to believe that it's an essential piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
He doesn't shy away from discussing the role of a higher power, or what some might call God,
Okay.
in the process of creating wealth.
So is he suggesting that wealth is like somehow divinely bestowed upon certain individuals?
Not exactly. It's more nuanced than that. He talks about how many successful people across various religions and spiritual backgrounds
Okay.
share this belief that they're tapping into a source of power and abundance that's bigger than themselves.
I can see how that might be empowering.
Yeah.
If you believe that you're connected to this unlimited source of abundance,
Right.
it could definitely influence your actions and your beliefs about what's possible.
He even references a passage from the Old Testament that says, remember, it is God who gives you the power to create wealth.
Okay.
Now, whether you interpret that literally or metaphorically,
Right.
it speaks to this deeper belief that wealth creation isn't solely about individual effort. There's the spiritual dimension at play as well.
Yeah, it's almost like surrendering to a greater force.
Right.
And trusting that you'll be guided towards your goals.
He uses this analogy of the universe as an infinite source of supply.
Okay.
He's suggesting that we can all tap into this source through our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
Right.
It's like we're all connected to this inexhaustible well of abundance, and our job is to like align ourselves with it.
Yeah, that reminds me of the law of attraction.
Right.
You know, the idea that like attracts, like
Exactly.
if you believe in abundance, if you act in accordance with that belief,
Right.
and if you surround yourself with positive energy,
Yeah.
you're more likely to attract abundance into your life.
Exactly. And this brings us back to Trudeau's final message,
Right.
which is a powerful one.
Okay.
He believes that we were all born with the seeds of greatness within us. We have the potential to achieve anything we set our minds to,
Okay.
including financial success.
But how do we tap into that potential?
Yeah.
There seems to be more to it than just hard work and positive thinking.
He believes it's about aligning ourselves with that source of infinite potential within us and recognizing that we're not alone in this journey.
Okay.
Whether you call it God,
Okay.
the universe, or simply your higher self.
Right.
There's a power greater than ourselves that we can connect to
Yeah.
for guidance and support.
So it's about cultivating a sense of faith or trust in something bigger than ourselves.
Yes. And it's also about recognizing our own inherent worthiness.
Okay.
Trudeau believes that we are all deserving of abundance and that we have the power to create it in our lives.
The message of empowerment.
It is.
But it also requires a shift in perspective.
Yes.
It's about moving beyond limiting beliefs,
Right.
embracing our potential, and trusting in a power greater than ourselves.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Kevin Trudeau's How to Make Your First Million,
Yeah.
I'm left with this sense of possibility, whether or not you agree with all of his ideas. He certainly challenges us to think differently about wealth creation.
I agree. He encourages us to examine our beliefs, to take responsibility for our actions, and to connect with a source of power that can help us achieve our goals.
So as you move forward on your own journey towards financial success, consider these questions. What would your life look like if you truly believed that you could create any amount of wealth you desire?
Yeah.
What actions would you take differently?
Right.
What words would you speak?
Yeah.
How would you connect with that source of infinite potential within you?
It's definitely a lot to think about.
It is.
But that's the beauty of a deep dive, you know?
Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity to explore new ideas,
Absolutely.
to challenge our assumptions, and to expand our understanding of what's possible.
That's what we try to do.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
We hope it's inspired you to think differently about your own potential for wealth creation.